the next mainline Mario Kart game has officially been revealed as Mario Kart World. And not only have we seen a lot of footage for this game since that Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, but a dedicated Mario Kart World Direct is also airing on April 17th. Before that happens, I wanted to discuss some of my personal hopes and predictions for MK World, since that Direct will probably answer a lot of my questions. I put together a wish list of new features I want to see, some quality of life changes that should be implemented, and a few concerns I would like Nintendo to address. We already know quite a bit about this new Mario Kart, maybe a little too much, but I have a strong feeling that Nintendo is being sneaky. There's some things that they're definitely hiding from us, and I think my first topic is one of those hidden features. I'm starting things off with a pretty big feature request for Mario Kart World, and that is some sort of adventure mode, a la Diddy Kong Racing. At first, I thought something like this would be a pipe dream, even after the game was announced, but the more I look at gameplay of MK World and really think about and consider what this game is meant to be, I've completely switched up my opinion on this, and I now think an adventure mode that spans across the entire world map with all sorts of unlocks, missions, and other things to do is an absolute lock. I think this is 100% happening, and it'll be shown during that Mario Kart World Direct as the last big new mode they're hiding. I'm even going to go out of my way and predict the name for this adventure mode. It's going to be called World Tour Mode. It makes too much sense. I would be satisfied if what they've shown so far is a majority of the content and free roam is the only open world mode, but something tells me free roam mode is not the reason this game is open world. In fact, I don't think you make an open world like this without adding a whole bunch of stuff to do. Maybe you could battle CPUs in closed off battle arenas, complete races with certain win conditions, or even do challenges that require you to visit typically closed off locations during normal races. This is the perfect opportunity for Nintendo to bring back missions to Mario Kart. Obviously, mission mode was a beloved feature of Mario Kart DS, but it never came back. I think it was supposed to come back in Mario Kart Wii, it was eventually scrapped, but can you imagine doing missions in this giant open world, potentially with friends? Fighting bosses like Goomboss or Big Bully in arenas around the map. Maybe you could even recruit them and unlock the bosses as playable racers. That could be how you unlock characters in general. Now that I think about it, they did something similar in Super Mario Sluggers on the Wii. That game had a neat mini adventure mode where you recruited characters and went around a world map. I also saw that there seems to be achievements in this game based on some of the footage that came out. They could tie that into World Tour mode as well. If that's the case, I'll definitely be grinding MK World achievements. Every single one of them. The $80 MSRP for Mario Kart World has definitely been a hot topic since it was first revealed. That price tag has seen a lot more backlash than I think Nintendo even predicted, and while I don't think they're going to lower the price before launch, especially not during the whole US tariff situation, I do hope there is a valid explanation for it. I just want Nintendo to at least try and justify that $80 price. I get that it's a big open world game with a lot of content and detail, and I understand that it's probably taken the Mario Kart team almost a decade to develop, but that simply isn't enough for the average consumer to be convinced that this isn't just Nintendo being extremely greedy. In that April 17th Mario Kart World Direct, I want Nintendo to reveal something crazy. Some new information about this game that makes the $80 blow feel less like a scam and more so of a somewhat justifiable price point. As for how they're realistically going to do that, I don't really know. Not everybody is going to be happy regardless. But there is one thing I have in mind, and that's if Nintendo announces that all future DLC for Mario Kart World is free for everybody. I know, that's not going to ease concerns for most people, but it's something. I do genuinely think that Mario Kart World is a game that's going to be supported with new tracks, new game modes, characters, and features throughout the majority of the Switch 2's life. This will be the next big Mario Kart for an entire console generation, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo might be treating it as sort of a live service game. Not live service in the sense that it's online only, that's not what I mean, but a game that's going to constantly get support over the span of multiple years. Longer than any Splatoon game, longer than the Smash Bros. DLC cycle. Even if that isn't the case, this game will still be getting DLC no matter what. Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U got DLC, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe eventually got the Booster Course Pass years later. And if we end up getting a Booster Course Pass level of content for MK World, we should expect the track count to nearly double in size. And if all of that was free, including any other additional content, be it new racers, karts, and modes, without even buying into an NSO subscription, I think Nintendo could play off the $80 price tag as if you're paying for the game and the DLC up front. Again, that's not going to make everybody happy. As a matter of fact, I think more people will be angry if DLC is announced before the game's release, but what else can you really do? Now this is a weird one, but with MK World being an open world racing game, every racetrack on the map is connected to each other, and this is highlighted well with the new Knockout Tour mode, an elimination mode where you race across 6 different racetracks in a single session, with each track being 1 lap long. Grand Prix is still around, but it's a bit different this time. I think the tracks are still connected in Grand Prix, but it's not as instantaneous as Knockout Tour mode. There's a loading screen in between tracks, and it's structured like the normal Grand Prix mode in previous Mario Kart iterations. 4 tracks, and 3 laps on most of them. But there's a problem I've seen come up with Grand Prix in particular, and that's the fact that the mode might be more linear than we thought. If you pay close attention to the gameplay that's coming out, or even just look at the mini-maps, you'll start to notice a lot of racetracks or sections of some tracks are simple straight roads with a few turns here and there. I think what's going on is that in Grand Prix, the first track in a cup is always going to be that classic closed-off Mario Kart circuit. There's 3 laps and you loop back around all 3 times. But by the second race, you end up spending 2 entire laps just driving to the next course on a very linear pathway. The 3rd lap of each race is where you actually play on the course, and because it's the last lap, it ends without looping around 2 more times like a normal circuit. It's as if Mount Wario or N64 Rainbow Road were a majority of the tracks in the game, and I've seen a lot of people upset about this. If they're doing this for Grand Prix and Knockout Tour only, I think I'd be fine with it, but when I'm playing versus races online, or just playing courses on their own via time trials or local play, I do hope there is a variant of each track that's just a simple 3-lap traditional circuit with no in-between parts. I don't want to be racing on a straight highway or train track for 60% of the race, especially not online. I am confident though that this is something they're just hiding. I do think they'll address this in that Mario Kart Direct and show off other ways to play these tracks outside of Grand Prix and Knockout Tour. And if you think MK World is going to end up being too boring because of this, I wouldn't worry too much. They're probably just taking a new approach to Grand Prix mode this time around. In Mario Kart World, so far we've seen a big focus on the character roster and racer customization. We've seen a lot of new characters and returning characters in the trailer alone, but we've learned about even more since then. And much like Mario Kart Tour, a lot of the racers are going to have costume variants now, which was a highly requested feature for the mainline series. The problem with this is how they seem to be handling the character select screen. We've seen what the select screen menu looks like thanks to the Nintendo Treehouse live streams and hands-on gameplay, and while I like that each character now has a goofy little idle animation of them jumping around or doing a little jig, the select screen itself doesn't really seem to do a good job of spacing out the characters. Instead of having one massive roster screen that displays every character like past Mario Kart games, MK World displays 12 characters at a time with multiple pages to fit more characters. I think this is okay, it's not the end of the world or anything, but I would like there to be a way to customize the amount of characters that can appear per page. So for example, if I wanted 18, 24, or even 32 characters per page, there would be an option in the settings where it could do just that, and it would scale the character portraits accordingly. Another issue with the select screen that I would like to see addressed is for there to be a way to make it so outfits don't take up a character slot, because so far that seems to be the case as well. Character variants or costumes do take up a spot on the character select screen, and we know this because people have shown it in the Mario Kart World demo that's being played at Switch 2 events. A big problem in Mario Kart 8 is that there were a lot of characters that were similar to each other or straight up duplicates, such as Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach, that took up character slots when they didn't necessarily need to. They addressed this with certain characters though, like Yoshi, Shy Guy, and even Link, as they had sub-menus where you could pick their alternate colors or costumes without it actually taking up a character slot. In MK World, I would like the option to toggle a sub-menu, much like the one seen in MK8, for those costume variants. I feel like I'm not asking for a lot here. It could even be added in an update post-launch, but just make these options available. Look, proximity voice chat in online races would be absolutely incredible, but compared to everything on this list, I gotta say, this is probably the least likely feature to happen. Not because proximity chat is hard to do on Switch 2 or anything. The console is very capable of doing voice chat, as it has a built-in microphone now, and there was a huge emphasis on game chat during the Switch Direct, but I don't know. I still think it's unlikely just due to it being Nintendo. When it comes to social features on their own systems, they always kind of took a half step into the modern world of communication. It's never fully what people want. I feel like they're still going to disappoint us by not letting us talk in public matches or making voice chat exclusive to the game chat feature with friends. Maybe we will get it though, and I'm just overthinking it, but proximity chat in Mario Kart, especially with 24 people online, would be hilarious. It would add another level of joy to the game entirely just by hearing people's reactions to getting hit by a blue shell or stealing first place last second. If Nintendo opened the floodgates on public voice chat like that, it would cause a lot of issues with younger kids being exposed to explicit language and stuff like that. But they could easily address that issue somehow. Maybe they could make the voice chat exclusive to people over the age of 18. Maybe it could be a parental control option. Or maybe just give temporary bans or mutes to people that abuse voice chat to this extent. There would have to be some type of moderation, I'm sure, but I would love to see proximity voice chat in Mario Kart World's online mode. Please, man. There's not much else I really want to see in this game other than the 5 things I mentioned. I know we've seen about 50 different characters and like 34 outfits, which is already massive. But knowing what this game is shaping up to be, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw just a bit more. Put in EGAT from Luigi's Mansion, put in some of the Odyssey characters like Cappy or that awesome Yeti guy from the Snow World. I already got the Pianta in this game, which is goated. He will definitely be one of my mains day 1 for sure. We also got the Cataquack from Sunshine, but put in the Nokis, put in the Strollin' Stews. Maybe some Mario Wonder representation with Prince Florian, or even that stupid little talking flower. I could sit here for days listing off my most wanted racers now that the roster potential is cracked wide open, but I'm not going to bore you with that. Not today at least. From what I looked into, there's about 32 racetracks on the world map, and I do think that might be the final track list for the base game, but you gotta remember, MK World seems to change tracks up quite a lot depending on what mode you're playing on. I think there's going to be a lot of track variants, and a lot of tracks just made up of the open world segments that aren't even listed as actual circuits. I'm excited to see what else this game has to offer, and there's not much time left until that Mario Kart dedicated direct. This video is either going to age like absolute dog shit or be spot on in every way possible. There is no in between. Trust me though, that adventure mode is going to be called World Tour mode and nothing else. That's all I really have for this video. Those are my 5 Mario Kart World hopes, copes, and predictions. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. I guess I'm doing Nintendo content on this channel again. Not exclusively, obviously, but it has been some time since I did a video like this. I think I miss it. I think I want to do more of these Switch 2 wishlist videos, especially for Kirby Air Riders, or Air Ride 2, which if you haven't seen my reaction video for it, it's a game I'm highly anticipating. My absolute dream video game sequel is right around the corner. I'll get to play it this year, assuming I get my hands on a Nintendo Switch 2, but that's a whole different mess entirely. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.